Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's.
But if you drive by right now, you'll see
Everyone now is
in Brown, it's Memorial to Annette Brooks.
Also, when you see it on Highway 101, you see the bridge down.
But we're talking about the actual highway.
Section of highway.
The section of highway. Then you're going to the city.
Where it's.
But like I said.
It's like trees. I think it's. Oh, you're right.
It's something else, because they don't have to do something. They're soon that.
Yeah, down like four. So that's right.
Berkeley, I'm well.
Yeah, that's a good mile.
About 2 weeks, so you brought me a
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
City Council, roll call please.
Mayor Barnes.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Orr.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Woodall.
Please stand for the.
Yes.
There's nothing to disclose from our closed session to report out. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ceremonial matters. Ceremonial matters. Proclamation declaring April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Page 4 in our packets. Maria, Paula, is that you?
Yes.
City of Rio Dell proclamation in recognition of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, 2025, April 2025. Whereas sexualized violence affects children, youth, adults, and elders of all genders from racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds with public health and social justice implications for every person in Rio Dell. And whereas staff and volunteers of the North Coast Rape Crisis Team provide 24-hour emergency response services to survivors and their significant others, and believes that prevention and intervention are essential to a healthy community. And whereas no one person, organization, agency, or community can eliminate sexual assault on their own, but can, through collaboration and partnership, work together to support those impacted, improve responses, and ensure that survivors are not re-victimized. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Rio Dell reaffirms its commitment to the North Coast Rape Crisis Team and its values: heal, help survivors by meeting them where they're at, empower them through their healing journey, affirm their choices, and listen to and believe their truths. And acknowledged on April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Thank you. I signed this. Would you like to say some words?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Sepulveda. I work with
the North Coast Rape Crisis Team. So we'd first like to thank you, the City Council, for supporting Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as well as our agency, the North Coast Rape Crisis Team. For over 50 years, NCRCT has been providing essential and free services to survivors of sexual assault in our community. And so this includes a 24-hour bilingual hotline. It includes accompaniment to evidence collection exams, support through law enforcement interviews, the criminal court process. We offer free crisis counseling services, and as well as financial assistance for survivors and their families. This last year alone, we assisted over 599 survivors here in Humboldt County. And these services are available regardless of when the harm occurred and or if somebody wants to participate within the criminal justice process. This work is not possible without our community partners, and so that does include law enforcement. Congratulations on the new role. And the district attorney's office, sexual assault nurse examiners, and tribal organizations. We are currently finding that with some of the looming funding cuts happening within the Victims of Crime Act and the threatened federal freeze of grant funds, it might become impossible for our agency to function and continue to be able to serve survivors in the way that we do. And so we do ask for your help to ensure that we're able to continue to provide survivors with these resources. And if you're interested in finding out about how you can support our agency or anyone else, they can visit our website. It has information about sending letters to our local state representatives. It also has our updates on fundraisers that we're doing throughout all of Humboldt County. And so that website is ncrct.org. And thank you again. And I am also available if you have any questions for me.
Thank you. Would anyone like to ask questions?
I feel like I talked a lot, so.
I'll say thank you for what you do. It takes a special person to work in that field. So thank you. Not everybody can handle that.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Everything
you.
you do. Yeah. Appreciate it. Public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or its staff is not allowed under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Items requiring council's actions not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. The public. That's you.
Well, you guys are on the agenda.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. 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 Thank you for your enthusiasm.
Any hands raised, any emails? No. Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll close the public presentation and move to the consent calendar. Is there anyone from the council who would like to remove an item? Anyone from the public or staff like to remove an item? No? And then I would ask any hands raised or emails that want to remove an item. And I will ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. Reports, staff communications, page 41 in our packet. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes and members of the council. Just a quick notation, our nuisance advisory committee meeting, which was scheduled for tomorrow at 3 o'clock, has been canceled. So it will resume again at its normal time next month. And then I also want to just thank Community Development Director Kevin Caldwell for the submission of with the board's approval for the Wildlife Conservation Board grant for the full completion of our Eel River Trail, the 88 access at the Davis Street location. I know that we feel very excited about it, and I want to thank Kevin for pushing that one through, and all the struggles associated with getting that project to full completion. I'm happily surprised that we were able to find a grant that might work. That seems like the staff on the other end is very, very receptive and very helpful. So we will see how that goes. With that, I'm happy to return answer any questions that the council may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
No questions, just thanks to everybody. We had 2 dogs transported to Miranda's this time, but no cats.
Yeah.
So we're still moving up in the world. Thank you, that's it.
Councilmember Ward? Councilmember Woodall?
Not exactly a question. The gateway looks really nice with the trees. And I wanted to thank you guys and thank the ad hoc committee for doing it, because that was a hard job for you to do. But they look nice, and now we're even gonna have a second bloom because the trees in the middle are now starting to bloom, and it looks really nice. I'd also like to thank Public Works. These last few days, they have been all over town, and it looks good. I mean, yesterday, there was the park that needed to be mowed, everything, and it looks sharp. Even the going up to the freeways, they've done a great job. And a lot of time they spent doing it, so I want to thank you. And I think that was all for right now.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson? And just jump on the bandwagon of Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Woodall and say thank you. And I agree, they were beautiful and it makes me very happy. And are there any public comments about the staff report? If there's any emails? No? Okay, then I will come to the end of that and move on to special call items. Provide direction to staff related to a donation to the Chamber of Commerce for Cinco de Mayo celebration at the Social Lodge. Oh, hang on a second. I'm sorry, city manager. Yes, I'm city manager.
Just quickly, it was requested that the council agendize a discussion, an action item related to donation to the Chamber of Commerce's upcoming Cinco de Mayo celebration. So due to the timing of Cinco de Mayo, this would be the council's last regularly scheduled meeting before the event. So the attached is documentation from the city manager, or excuse me, from the city attorney that would need to be signed and executed along with all the required information if such a grant were to be given by the council. We'll say I don't have any information on the proposal. And you know, the council has discussed donations to the Chamber of Commerce before, and lengthy discussions related to it, including the approval in advance budgeted for the Christmas decorations annually on a reimbursement basis. So, but yeah, with that, I'm happy to return to the mayor and answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, city manager. Sorry, I jumped over there. Hello, gentlemen.
Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I do have a brief rundown. I don't know, do you have a copy of that?
We have this.
You have a copy of numbers?
Yeah, we need numbers.
Not too many copies here, so you might just have to pass them around. There's a copy of the flyers.
We can share.
I'm not sure, Kyle, where you've been talking about insurance, because we did check that with our carrier. We can get that to you.
Saying with the
Okay, folks, well, this is a Cinco de Mayo celebration. We're holding it on a Sunday the day before, because everyone, obviously, the holiday falls on a Monday, and everyone's at school and at work. So this is a family-oriented event. We're trying to get the kids of the community to come down. It's we're gonna have a special kids zone with games, bounce house. Where Taco Local will be catering it with actually it'll be a Mexican buffet with cheese, beef enchiladas, beans, rice, chips. And then we got a 7-piece mariachi band playing for the tuna. And we're only charging $10, and kids 12 and under are going to be free. Basically, what we're doing here is honoring the the Hispanic community and their contributions to our community. And I do have a lookup on the prices on the second page here. As it goes right now, we've already reserved the bounce house. We signed the band. We signed the caterer. We signed the site. The site is along to the left of Scotia Lodge. It's going to be decorated. Rio Dell, Scotia Fire Department are involved. They're going to be supplying the tables and chairs and helping out. Community Resource Center has been a big help. They're going to be taking care of the kids, organizing the games and what have you. Kiwanis made a donation. Can spare a couple. They're all going down to the race that day. It's a marathon the same day, so it's going to be a madhouse down there. But and then we just got a couple businesses that are chipping in. So I guess the chamber's looking for an advance of $2,000, and from the events fund. To help pull this off. We're expecting at least 200 people. Not all of that, obviously, half of that will probably be kids, so that'll be 1,000 there. And that's about it. Any other questions?
Yes. But somebody else have those.
I'll wait till she goes.
Just a clarification, are you asking us for $2,000?
Correct.
Or, okay, I just wanted to make sure that was where we were at, we were on the same page. All right, I'll go for it. Yeah.
I have another question. This is gonna be an awful difficult one and hard, and you're probably really gonna tell me no before I ask, but I need cones for the reserve blocking, the reserve parking stuff for the band and all. They're put in front of the park so nobody parks there when the band and stuff shows up. You know, the orange cones?
Yeah, we deal with Jennings on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told her I was coming here to ask. You should have told me that.
Okay.
He just wanted me to.
No, it's just that I feel the chamber, we'd like to pick it up a little as far as events go. So far we had the flood commemoration event, and now it's standing room only at the Scotia Ballroom. And then we had a St. Patrick's Day celebration when the power went out, and this, that, and the other. But we had a pretty good turnout on that. And I've been talking with Kristen Fine there, the event organizer of Scotia, and she's on the same page as with me, is that we should really pick it up as far as events go and start trying to get some people down here and some entertainment. So this is actually our first big event, but we have others planned in the future, utilizing that area because it's so underutilized. And we're waiting for the Winema to come online. They're restoring, or I guess they're rebuilding the bathrooms there to make it handicap accessible. But once that's done, we'll be able to use that also. So,
Are there any, Councilmember Woodall, any questions?
Questions, or do you want my summation or what I can through?
No,
Should we go to?
well, yeah, but I mean,
Well, let's
either way.
hear the other people's questions, and then I
Do you
will.
have any questions?
Questions, I guess. You say you're gonna have 1,000 kids there? You anticipating?
no, I have no idea. The ladies are in touch with the Lolita School, the Rio Dell Elementary. Fortuna has a huge Latin population. We're hammering those folks too. Garberville as well as Weot. So it's really hard to say at this point. But I would easily say a couple hundred kids, yeah.
Councilmember Orr?
I go by that because of how many people show up for our Christmas lighting tree every Christmas. There's a good, 60 or 70 people there. So we'll certainly capture that audience.
Councilmember Orr?
That's the names there, but how is this benefiting Scotia and Rio Dell? I mean, if Taco Locos taking care of the catering, so that's already money outside our community.
Yeah, what they're actually doing is they're gonna be cooking the food the same day. We're gonna be picking it up, putting it in chafer dishes and keeping it warm at the site. So that's 150 meals.
I think that the question was more like Taco Locos and Fortuna.
Correct.
And so it's a Fortuna, so the money's actually going to Fortuna, it's not coming to like Patron.
Well, unfortunately, the first people I went to was Patron, and they were talking $20 a meal, and I mean, that's almost sit-down prices, so.
And that's, that.
You know, I just,
Yeah.
you know, we had to keep it down to about $6 a meal, and that's what this is, with everything included, is pretty good price. That includes horchata to drink, so.
Okay, so are the kids eating free? Do they have to be with their parents?
Yeah,
Well, you're gonna turn away little kids that come with.
yeah, the parents would be there, sure.
Well, no, not necessarily. I just wondered. I don't know. I love that you're doing all of this, and I think it's great that you guys are you had some nice events, but this isn't budgeted, and the chamber is budgeted for a certain amount each year. And I just don't know, it's not budgeted, and that's an awful lot of money. And even though I appreciate everything you're doing, my concern is it isn't budgeted.
And then my question is, along the budget lines too, is, so if this is a total, then what is?
You know, basically, it's a rough estimate, and it is on the high side.
But that's not my question.
Okay.
My question is, what is the chamber fund-wise, money-wise? What is the chamber putting in? If this is.
Chamber's putting in $500 as it stands right now. What I was thinking, if this thing actually makes money, is reimbursing the city for it, as opposed to putting in, I was gonna put it in a chamber future event pot. And that's what we're drawing on now. And that's all that's left in there is $500 after all the events we put on. But bottom line, and I told I'm on the board there with the Chamber of Commerce, and I told them, this is not a fundraiser. I mean, a fundraiser is where you go in and you do everything for nothing and everything's pure profit. This is more of a community event for the community, and it's gonna cost. It might not cost anywhere near this. I see I didn't make this up. This is Suzanne Mace is helping me out with Marlboro Advisors. And she's a businesswoman, and so this is a very high. I was originally looking at it around, 2,100 tops.
And, wait, I have another question. My question.
I've been there, don't worry about it.
But, so would this then, would some of the funds then come out of the Christmas budget? Because that's, because we have to balance what we're doing. So we have an amount budgeted for the chamber. And so if that's the amount budgeted for the chamber and we do this, then at Christmas, we cannot expect to have,
I understand that.
so.
That's why I'll do everything in my power to reimburse as much as I
Well,
possibly can.
and just to kind of piggyback off that, we're not saying that you need to pay us back, or you could pay yourselves back and put that in a Christmas pot.
Replenish a fund, in other words.
But what we're saying, I think just to keep it super straightforward, instead of some money going back and forth like that, it might be easier to say, well, we'll give you what you want on a reimbursement basis coming out of our yearly budget for the chamber, which I believe is 2,500. So if we give you up to 2,000, then at Christmas time, we'll give you 500 instead of 2,500.
I understand, I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
But instead of reimbursing us and then coming back at Christmas, so you know what I mean? Could we just?
In that event, I'd put it in the chamber fund and
And then you just use that for Christmas.
Correct.
Don't mess up in Christmas.
City manager, would this be, not, here's $2,000, but would this be bringing your receipt like it is at Christmas?
Yes.
Well, so I did talk with the city attorney on this, and he did, starting on page 48 of your packet, is a agreement that my understanding would be to allow an upfront grant from the city to the chamber. I did have some questions. The city attorney is going to circle back on the legal status of the Chamber of Commerce and whether that jives exactly correctly as he believed. But this would have to be an agreement between the city of Rio Dell, the entity of the city of Rio Dell, and the Chamber of Commerce. And then whenever the city enters into agreement, there are certain insurance requirements that are part of any agreement that the city has to enter into. We can't just simply write a check. It has to be legally with an agreement for audits, for liability purposes. If something occurs during the event, the city has to be.
Yeah, I totally understand. Melissa Marks has that, so I can get that to you.
Yeah, so depending on the direction from the council, and if they wish to proceed, what we would do is sit down with you guys and go over, and then the city attorney would be reviewing the submittals to make sure that they met, and then would give me the authorization to go ahead and sign.
Okay.
So that's kind of the latest update on that. And you'll see starting on page 54, some of the baseline insurance requirements that would be required. So it would be direct agreement between us and the Chamber of Commerce. So it would require somebody from the Chamber of Commerce with signatory authority to sign.
Well, I'm the vice president, so I guess that'd be me, yeah. But I would get that necessary paperwork to you, via Melissa, she has that.
And then, would we need to add language in here about this being like for the annual budget?
My recommendation, honestly, was that the council, maybe we have a separate discussion about just generally, contributions from the city towards third-party charitable organizations. To set up kind of a policy guideline. This really should have been coming to the city earlier so that we can work through and communicate a little bit. It's, trying to facilitate an opportunity here to make it happen. So just kind of setting up the rules of how that works, so that when we get to budget and we're allocating the money and we say we have $2,000 for Chamber of Commerce, that maybe we want to bump it up or just specifically say, explicitly that's it, total amount available. I certainly really hope that we have a lot more events in the town. There are also other entities and organizations that I'm sure would be very happy to fund these type of events, specifically Cinco de Mayo. And they may be easier to deal with than the city because we have all these requirements that we have to jump through legally in order to try to make something happen. So, but essentially, if you go again to page 48, there are recitals in what the agreement would be because. The city has to be very careful about gift of public funds, and the council has to make a finding that the agreement is in the public interest. And so I'll just go ahead and read through these. This is again trying to verify the exact tax status of the Chamber of Commerce, but the grantee is a nonprofit tax exempt public benefit corporation whose purpose is to provide programs and services to enrich, empower, and stimulate the economy in the city of Rio Dell, facilitate social activities and community participation in the Rio Dell and Scotia communities. Whereas the city has worked closely with and has supported the grantee's mission and purpose for many years, whereas grantee's provision of services and fulfillment of its purpose provides significant public benefit to the residents of the city. whereas the grantee is incurring significant expense to facilitate a Cinco de Mayo celebration and stimulate commerce and social interaction in celebration of the event and Latin cultural and heritage and contributions to the community. And whereas the city wishes to award a grantee to support the Cinco de Mayo event planned and administered by the grantee. So these would be the findings that the city council in your motion, if you want to proceed to, approve these recitals, and then we would move forward. The city, again, the city attorney will verify full, complete compliance with the agreement before the city manager executes it. So if there is something here that is not true or is doesn't work for insurance purposes, we really cannot proceed with it. But that's, but ultimately the council does have the discretion to make that award. There should be funding available in the council's budget that is assigned but unspent by year end. So it is according to city attorney council discretion.
And I have one more question that probably Travis is the one to have to answer. He's not here, but we are in the fiscal year that ends in June 30th, meaning that we've already spent the chamber budget in December. Is that not true?
Correct.
So that's a little problematic. Because no one knows how much is left. Is there any way to, I mean, I know we can't do that right now, but,
Oh, are you done? I just know, I didn't want
Next.
to, how much did you make,
Next.
Jim? Jim, how much did you make for the St. Patrick's Day?
How much did
How
we
much
spend?
did that event make for you guys?
Actually, it didn't make money. We lost about $110 when all was said and done. The band was $400, so.
Okay, and you must have made money on the flood event,
Yes, we did.
how much?
A good, I think it's close to $320, something like that, 320.
You always will say 3,000.
can we do less? Can we do something but less?
I'd be open to that. And before I forget, make some of these in Spanish, please.
Right?
We have it in
Okay,
Spanish.
you do that, okay.
It's already printed in
Wonderful.
Spanish.
I just did not want to forget that would be, yeah, okay.
Like I say, it's mass saturation as far as
Okay,
advertising
as long as it's in
goes.
Spanish, yeah.
We have a couple banners ordered also, which will probably be placed in town here somewhere.
As far as something but less, like where? Is this thing doomed if we don't give you a full $2,000? Can we give you, because like.
I'll be come out of my own personal bank
Well, it's a
account.
good point though, that we are, my whole deal was, well, we have 2,500 budgeted for the chamber, so let's give it, it's already gone for Christmas.
Yeah. And I don't know how much.
Yeah, that's Nick's doing.
Yeah, well.
He tends to overspend.
Well, can you amend we agree to give them X amount?
Yeah, that's what I was.
And then amend that.
Can we do that?
Next year's budget, can we amend it?
asking about.
You can, this is not, you just, so this is an expense that's not technically budgeted, but is affordable. But my recommendation is that we have a separate discussion at a later point in time about just a general policy and framework for how we
address this.
types of requests.
But this would come out of this council's budget anyway, is my understanding, so,
Well, council,
is there a motion
I
to?
don't think the council uses its whole budget every year. I mean, what happens to every year, what do we use it or lose it?
Because I'm not handing out business cards.
Right. So we can, is there a motion to move forward with this? Is there a motion to do partial
I would suggest that we move forward with this with the understanding that we're gonna amend the budget for Christmas next year
No,
Not like that.
accordingly. Am I a jerk?
No, I mean, that's fair.
I would like to stick with what, what's within the budget for the chamber, even though it's already spent. You see, it gets confusing. I also didn't get a chance to say that I'm very happy that you guys have been putting on events lately. I think that I've been to all of them, try to support. But I do kind of want to stick with what we generally budget for the chamber, and as long as the chamber understands that this will mean that the budget for next year's Christmas decorations looks different than it has for years, and we're good with that. Just want everybody to understand.
We're pretty well set for Christmas. We bought all the decorations we
It's the
possibly
lift,
can.
usually, we help pay for the lift, so as long
Yeah.
as you guys are okay.
Yeah, I don't have
you're
a
okay.
problem with that, no.
So is there, public comment?
Yes,
Yeah, well, you have to come, all right.
first of all, my question is really for you guys. My name is Teresa, I live here in Rio Dell. My question for you guys is, you're having it at Scotia. My question for you guys is, we're having this at Scotia, are they just putting in the place to have it?
What are you talking about?
We're having it at Scotia, Scotia is different than Rio Dell.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
Scotia lawn.
That's much long.
So it's,
My next-
just for your information, so it's the Rio Dell Scotia Chamber of Commerce.
They're-
So they're together.
Yeah,
They're together. Just so you recognize that, and, probably there is no venue in Rio Dell.
Scotia.
Okay, my next thing I would say is leave, don't worry about, save it for Christmas.
Yeah. Thank you. Could you, give your full name, please, for the record?
My name is Teresa Adams.
Thank you.
I live on Web Lane,
Thank you.
Mr. Powell's house, old house.
Are there any, hands raised or emails? No. The person is. Not bad. And is there a motion on the table?
Okay, I will make a motion. No, I don't know what I'm motioning for, okay. Or do we agree on the amount, are we giving them 2,000 or are we giving them less? Can I talk about that?
And then that way.
1,500.
Yeah, there's some for
1,000.
Christmas, some for now.
I would motion to give you $1,000 for this and amend your future Christmas budget by that $1,000.
Is there a second?
Nobody seconding.
Is there a second?
Okay,
Frank seconds it?
Can I just add?
I didn't phrase it right.
Can I just add something that also is a part of your motion, that the council accepts the recitals of the proposed grant?
Part of my motion is that I move to accept the recitals. I move to give the chamber $1,000 and then amend their future Christmas budget.
Is that
That's
sufficient,
$400.
city manager?
Acceptable?
We'll make that at the gate.
Okay, so motion second, okay.
Motion second, please vote. Motion carries 3-2.
Vote pass.
So it passed.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, folks.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much for your attention.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for all you do.
And I'll get that to you, Kyle.
And then be ready to come in and meet Jim.
Jim said you had something.
Okay, second reading by title only and adoption of ordinance number 413-2025, establishing chapter 8.45 of the title 8 of the Rio Dell Municipal Code, fire hazard severity zone map for the city of Rio Dell. Page 56 in our packets, city manager. Yeah.
You stayed here longer than most people do. I mean, don't get problems.
No, I was gonna say, if you're putting on a Cinco de Mayo event, I think Central del Pueblo, there's a lot of events within the Hispanic community. And they have a lot of connections within all of Humboldt County, as well as might have some fun. So,
Our chamber meetings are the first Fridays at noon, please. Okay.
Thank
let me
you.
know,
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so do we need to discuss this?
There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, so, This would be the second reading of by title only of the ordinance 413/2025, establishing the fire hazard severity zone map via ordinance, the Rio Dell Municipal Code for the city. As we discussed at our prior meeting, this is kind of a situation where the council is being, being put into a position where the restrictions can only grow as opposed to be reduced. And so with that, we recommend that the council open the public hearing, receive public input, deliberate, and approve and adopt ordinance 413/2025, establishing chapter 8.45 of title 8 of the Rio Dell Municipal Code Fire Hazard Severity Zone map for the city of Rio Dell.
Thank you, City Manager. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak to this? Any emails? Any hands raised? Then we will deliberate because there is no public input. Is there anything to deliberate?
Nope.
Nope. And so, because there's nothing we can do no matter what, we agree or disagree, I'll ask for a motion to.
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, okay.
Motion the second. Oops. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right. Item 2, approve resolution 1631-2025, authorizing a grant application to the Wildlife Conservation Board for Phase 2 of the Eel River Trail, a concrete accessible ramp. Page 63 in our packets. And yay, thank you, Kevin. Yeah. City Manager.
And I'll go ahead and turn it over to our community development director.
All right, it's pretty well explained. The item for you is a resolution basically acknowledges the city council's approval for submitting the application for phase 2 of the Eel River Trail, which is that concrete ramp that is so badly needed. The city manager indicated in the staff report update. We plan to submit that application tomorrow. With that, I would open up the public hearing to any comment the public may have or electronic comments they may have. If there are no public comments or council has any questions, if not, I'd recommend you adopt resolution number 1631-2025.
Thank you. Are there any emails, any hands raised? Is there some?
Just one question.
Yeah.
I probably know, but where is the ramp going to be? At the top of the hill?
At the top of Davis Street down to the end of the asphalt.
Oh, great.
It's actually a large ramp.
Okay.
I believe it's about 130 feet in total length.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
got 2 switchbacks on it. We've got a lot of information and the file is in my office. If anybody would like to take a look at it.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Orr? No. Councilmember Wilson?
No question.
No questions? I have no questions. I'm excited. I'm very hopeful and yay, thank you for coming.
I got my fingers crossed. I do have to say, and your manager indicated that the staff person we're working with has been very supportive. And she will prepare the recommendation to the board, which makes me feel good.
All right, yay. So is there a motion to approve and adopt resolution 1631-2025, authorizing a grant application to the Wildlife Conservation Board for phase 2 of the Eel River Trail, a concrete accessible ramp?
So
We have a
moved.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. Honorable item, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 414-2025, amending 12.30 of the Rio Dell Municipal Code pertaining to trails and further establishing fines, page 69 in our packets. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes, members of the council. So, we had a similar item up a couple months ago, establishing the rules. At the request of the mayor, we are agendizing fines and penalties associated with the misuse of the trail. I will say that there already has been some level of abuse of the trail, even very recently. And so we are working on the signage issue. Technically, the trail is not officially open, but it's still in process as we're getting close to the finish line. so there will be signs going up and all that stuff, and there will be people from out of town who come and bring equipment here and whatnot, and so we want to make sure that they're well aware of it. Had the city attorney just change our previous ordinance submittal. There were some slight tweaks that he wanted to make that are non-substantive to the document, and then it would establish the penalties and fines located on page 72 of the sheet. It's pretty standard documentation, and I know that Chief Finney will be working with the city attorney on the exact classification as to whether it's a citation or misdemeanor. So that might be a revision that we do in between now and the next reading on the 6th of May. So with that, that is staff's briefing on this matter. We're recommending that the council go ahead and open and receive any public comment, close that public comment period and direct staff to make any changes to the draft ordinance if necessary, and then continue the item to second reading and adoption of the ordinance to the May 6, 2025 regularly scheduled city council meeting.
Thank you, City Manager. Questions, Councilmember Wilson?
We don't have anything here about remote control cars, really.
No, that was a different one. Sorry, I really shouldn't have. I should get my mouth.
All right.
Councilmember Orr?
Just a couple, and this is relating to one of the complaints that was made by someone in Rio Dell that motorized vehicles that are not street legal on the streets, how are we going to control them on the trails if we have them on the streets already? I'm not sure what the ordinance is about them being on the streets, but I know they're.
Councilman Moore, that's an excellent question. Currently, as an infraction for the trail in the proposed language, that means that an officer would have to on-view it himself, contact them and write them a citation. When I will speak with the city attorney, we're moving it to a misdemeanor, which means we can use investigative leads to determine who these people are and submit criminal cases if there's non-compliance with our current laws. As far as their use on public streets, that is a traffic infraction, and it can be enforced if an officer sees that and stops them at that time.
Thank you.
No, just, I mean, we have problems with dirt bikes on the streets in this town for sure. But no, I do think some signage down there, I hope, will help. And, maybe a sign that's like, here's what you're going to owe me if we do this. Cause I live on the way, so I see them all. And so if you need some eyes, I'll post up. So, and already there's some neighborhood people who are posting up watching this, so I'll fill you in. Anywho, no, I'm okay with this. I think we need it. It's unfortunate that we need it, but we need it.
Councilmember Woodall?
It's kind of hard to, you have to get out and patrol it, right? I mean, unless they're right there in front of you at the end.
It does present some problems without having a dirt bike corps ourselves to chase these people down trails where we typically don't or can't go.
Yeah.
Hence why the investigative leads to figure it out are so important with that. But I think a good portion is going to come down to public education as this process moves along. And we are in the process of drafting a social media post to educate the public and start hold each other accountable.
Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you. And it is a problem. There's been verbal complaints, and so we know it exists. And at some future meeting, I'm probably going to bring up a dirt bike for the police officers, because you can't. I mean, I was talking with Crystal about it, Officer Landry, and she's like, but when they go down, we can't catch them. We can't drive down it.
And they know that.
And they know that, right? And we don't have enough police officers to be on either end to catch up like that. So short of, and I hope actually you can get that where you can do the investigative, but if you cannot, I'm feeling we need to budget for a vehicle that the police officer can be on to address that. because you can't catch up with them on your feet.
Karen says we have a gator with that wastewater, is that new Springfield also?
If it runs.
Is it old? He's like, it's old. I don't know.
Get him a hot rod bike.
Are there any hands raised or emails? No, okay. Then, is there a motion to, accept tonight's reading and move it forward to the, to the first meeting of May 6th, I believe?
So,
Second.
Motion second. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, council reports and communications. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I last week attended a school board meeting. We have a new school board member, as we may or may not know, Faith Hansen resigned with 2 years left to go on her term. So they've appointed a lovely young lady named Brianna Taylor to serve on the school board, and I think she's going to do an excellent job. So that is good news for the whole community. I have a READ meeting on Monday, the 28th, and COAD is bringing back the long-term recovery group, big public meetings. We should all probably end up with an invitation in our inboxes sooner rather than later, but that will be May 12th from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and it is usually via Zoom. Once I get that email myself, actually I already have it. So if anybody else would, wants that link, I can send it to you. That's actually it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Orr?
HCOW is coming up on Thursday, and I'm fully behind the motorcycle riding. Police officers are deputizing some of those street riders very happy, but, that's it.
Yeah, we both live over there. You
Yeah.
can do it, Rob.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah, I have RCA next Thursday, and they're moving their location from essentially from the downstairs at the Wolfender building to the upstairs of the Wolfender building. They had one in between the meeting that takes place next Thursday is at the Jefferson School because that building wasn't available. That was the next coming meeting will then after that. They'll change it. Yeah, then HWMA is going through processes of figuring out their tipping fees and some of that's going to go up a little bit. Kyle, I know, is working with the franchise agreement. Yeah, Rio Dell is, to his credit, is doing a little better than most of the cities. Actually, smaller city, Ferndale and Rio Dell are probably the two that are doing the best job as far as getting their franchise agreements. And that's held up the franchise agreement because they need Recology is saying we can't really do a lot as far as ordering trucks until we get our franchise agreements. And then they want to order, they're going to order more trucks to figure out this organic ongoing debacle. And then figure out, they're not going to put something in the county into their fixtures. It's just not doable for the years out for that's accomplished, so we trucked out of the area. But it is the rate's going to go up a little bit. I see our bill's already gone up from Recology. Looks like $9 every 2 months. And we're up about $4.50 for a standard typical house with a garbage can a week and your recycle and green waste. And so that'll probably eventually filter down through HWMA into your agreements, depending how long your franchise agreement goes for. Other than that, that's kind of what.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Woodall?
I have a CERT meeting tomorrow, and we had one, I think it was Monday, to get our certification for CPR. That was interesting. When is the Easter event? Is it Saturday?
Thank you. Yes.
Lord.
Awesome.
It's Saturday.
At 11 a.m.
Yeah, down at the fireman's department. And the other thing was the Walkability Beautification Committee. I'm sort of the one that's taking care of Main Street. So I spent most of my weekend with doing the flowers and I put some new pots down the center so that there'll be flowers in the center. So that is something I'm doing and trying to take care of.
Nice.
And that's it.
Okay. And I know, me too. Thank you, Julie, for doing that.
Thank you.
Really, truly. And last Monday, I testified before the Assembly at the state capitol to, speaking to AB 262, which is the bill that would create a state fund to be able to help agencies, but more importantly, for my part of the testimony was about individual assistance. And so the state cannot, at this time, give individual citizens assistance. And so this bill would create that fund. And it was very interesting and to testify before the Assembly. And the bill that the AB 262 passed that committee. So now it's on to the next spot, wherever that might be. But it's further than it's gotten before. This type of bill has gone on before, but this is the one that's gotten the furthest. And it was based. The impetus for it was the earthquake in Rio Dell and us not reaching the federal threshold, even though our bill, what's the word I'm looking for? What we had to recover from came to well over 35 million. And that was the city and not even individuals. Individuals were more than even that. So it was very interesting and I was very happy to be asked to do that. And I think that's all. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a motion? Is there a second? Council adjourned until meeting 6. We're gonna have a good 2 weeks off.